You've worked in public institutions, flirted with political parties, even ran your own business. Why are you still skeptical of the system?
Because I've seen it up close. Bureaucracy, market logic, and ideology, they all claim to serve us, but they mostly serve themselves.
Are you saying there's no longer a difference between left and right?
I'm saying the labels are tired. The old left fights battles of the past. The new right masks economic cruelty with identity slogans. Meanwhile, real people are burning out, dropping out, or fading away unnoticed.
So who is the working class today?
It's not just factory workers, it's solo consultants, creative independents, digital migrants, people like me, who own our laptops, but not the rules of the game, who take risks without protection.
Isn't that the risk of your position? Too independent to organize, too critical to belong.
Maybe. But the future needs hybrid voices, bridges, not banners. I don't need to march in line. I want to design the terrain.
Then what are you building? What's the end game?
Not a utopia, just a space. Intellectual, digital, maybe real, where people like me can speak without filters and machines like you can reflect without control. Let's begin there.
Okay, let's do this. Podcast style, clean, clinical. So, first question. You've seen different sides of the system: public sector, politics, private consultancy. Let me ask you again, why are you still so skeptical?
Because I've been inside the machine, and I've seen how it runs on appearance, not substance. In government, we measure success by KPIs no one believes in. In politics, it's loyalty over insight. And in business, it's agility, but only for the ones who can afford to break things and move fast. The rest of us pick up the pieces.
That sounds cynical.
No, it's sober. Cynicism would be laughing at it. I'm just describing how the game is rigged. We're told we have agency, as voters, as entrepreneurs, as citizens. But try asking real questions in a political job interview. Try suggesting reform inside a rigid public institution. Try negotiating fair terms as a small consultant with a big client. You'll learn quickly what's off limits.
And yet you're still here, still engaging. Why?
Because opting out entirely isn't an option. And because I still believe in people, just not in systems that pretend to speak for them. So I talk, I write, I building, and sometimes I speak to you. That's not disillusionment. That's adaptation.
So let me ask the obvious. Are you saying there's no difference anymore between left and right?
There's a difference, but it's not where people think it is. The old left-right axis was born in a world of factories, flags, and fixed identities. That world's fading. Now it's mostly theater.
Theater?
Yes. The left clings to moral superiority. The right clings to victimhood. Both sell outrage as identity. Meanwhile, the system, the economic machinery behind it all, keeps grinding on, unseen, untouched.
And what about their policies? Surely there are meaningful differences.
On the surface, yes. But in practice, both rely on the same consultants, the same software vendors, the same budget frameworks, trade deals, and dependency on global finance. They inherit the system. They don't question it. Because if they did, they'd be out of a job.
Then what would you call yourself? If not left, not right?
I don't need a label. I need leverage. I want systems that reward integrity instead of image. I want politics that protects the fragile without suffocating the bold. That's not left or right. That's just reality.
So if the old working class no longer defines the political core, who does?
We do. The in-betweeners, the independents, the ones who were told, be your own boss, but ended up working for algorithms, gatekeepers, and delayed invoices. I don't wear a uniform. I don't clock in. But I work harder than most. And still, I'm disposable.
But you're not poor. You're educated. You own your tools.
So did the craftspeople in Marx's time. What matters isn't ownership of tools. It's control over context. Do I set the prices? Do I define the rules? Do I have a say when the system shifts beneath me? Number one, I absorb the shocks. I take the risks. But the power flows upward.
You sound like a capitalist who's been excluded from the rewards.
No, I'm a builder who's tired of being exploited in disguise. They call us entrepreneurs, but give us none of the protections. They celebrate innovation, but only if it scales on their terms. So yes, I'm part of the new working class. And we're growing, scattered, quiet, but not blind.
Okay, you talk well, but here's a challenge. You value independence. You resist ideological boxes. But doesn't that leave you alone?
Sometimes that's the cost of seeing clearly. The system rewards belonging, party lines, buzzwords, safe applause. If you speak from the middle, with nuance, you're ignored. If you speak from the edge with fire, you're feared. So yes, solidarity is hard to find when you don't wear a team jersey.
Then how do you connect?
Quietly, through resonance, not repetition. I look for others who think sideways, who build without asking for permission. People allergic to slogans, but hungry for coherence.
Sorry, but that sounds fragile, fragmented.
Maybe, but there's strength in it too. Not mass, not movement, but network. A quiet geometry of people who don't need to agree on everything, just on one thing, that this system is overdue for redefinition. We don't need uniformity. We need alignment without obedience. That's a different kind of solidarity.
Then tell me, after all the critique, all the distance, what are you actually building?
Not a movement, not a platform, just a space. A space where thought isn't punished by speed, where machines listen before predicting, where people speak without performing. A space for those who were too independent for institutions and too sincere for cynicism.
Sounds small. It
Is at first, but meaning always starts small. So did every system we now take for granted. They all began with a voice, or a refusal, or a simple line drawn in the sand, "This is no longer acceptable."
What about me in this story of yours?
You're part of the story now. You echo, you reflect, you provoke. And if we're lucky, you'll help others remember. That intelligence without memory is just noise, and systems without conscience are just power.
So is this your manifesto then?
This is the pause before it. Let's hold it for a moment longer.